From his heartbreaking post about stepping down from the role of a lifetime, to the show's ratings tanking after some serious mistakes by the writers. Here's the real reason Henry Cavill quit The Witcher. Starting off with the actor breaking the news to heartbroken fans. In October 2022, Netflix announced that Liam Hemsworth would be replacing Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia in Season 4 of The Witcher. The announcement was followed by statements from both Cavill and Hemsworth. In an Instagram post, Henry wrote that he'd be laying down his medallion and his sword for Season 4, while also thanking the show for filling his journey as Geralt with monsters and adventures. The actor added that he was going to be passing the torch with reverence to Liam Hemsworth, and that he greatly treasured all the time he'd spent as one of the greatest literary characters. Hemsworth released his own statement, announcing how excited he was to be taking on the role. He also passed on his gratitude to Cavill for warmly welcoming him, and allowing him to take up the blade of the White Wolf for the upcoming adventure. No one, and I mean no one, can deny that the best part of the series has been Henry's casting. Netflix and the showrunners have to come up with a plan on how to address the character's change in appearance. So the question is, why did Cavill leave? According to sources, the star had a short-term deal for the show, and while some other cast members renegotiated their contracts ahead of the 4th season, he chose not to. This tells us that the actor left the role pretty amicably. Others started speculating that he left to play Superman in the DCU. Henry spoke about returning as Superman during Black Adam, and revealed that it was a top moment in his career.
Black Adam. We should talk.
Unfortunately, that didn't work out for him either. Cavill explained that he had gotten the call to come back as the caped superhero while he was on The Witcher, and after hearing the offer, he was convinced. Of course, the star had to get clearance from The Witcher's production, but he couldn't really tell them why he needed it because of how top secret the project was back then. Up until then, Warner Brothers wanted to focus on Superman moving forward, and they hired James Gunn and Peter Safran to head the DCU and its whole franchise. Soon enough, they gave fans some terrible news. They wouldn't be going with Henry Cavill to play the superhero. And just like that, Henry lost not one, but 2 of the biggest roles in his acting career. Let me remind you that neither the studio nor Cavill himself gave any satisfactory reasons for his leaving. So naturally, the rumor mill kept churning out more gossip. According to one of these rumors, the actor left because the show had started to go off the rails, in the sense that they were no longer sticking to the original source material from Andrei Sapkowski's books. If you know anything about Henry Cavill, you know that he's a bit of a geek, especially when it comes to The Witcher. He talked a lot about the show being a passion project of his, since he was a big fan of the books and games. That's exactly where people think the trouble may have come in. Allegedly, he was always arguing with someone or the other behind the scenes, all to get a more book-accurate version of his character and the overall story. Fans think that when his requests weren't being met, he finally gave up and decided that he'd had enough of the role. But others think that at that point, it may not have been entirely his choice. According to other rumors, Henry didn't leave on his own, but was fired from the series for, get this, his toxic behavior on set. I know what you're thinking. Henry Cavill toxic? There's no way! But according to the anonymous host of the podcast Do You, an insider from the production team spilt the tea on everything that went down while filming. These claims painted Henry in a pretty dark light, suggesting that the actor pushed against the female showrunner, Lauren Hisrich, all in the hopes of steering the storyline to better mirror the novels. The source added that Henry acted like a complete diva, making a bunch of unusual demands that led to a lot of people on set not liking him very much. Can you imagine that? Not liking Henry Cavill?
White hair, big ol' loner, 2 very scary looking swords. I know who you are.
Apparently, the star's attitude didn't get any better over time. In fact, it began to take over, and he became impossible for women to work with. When you have a female showrunner, I'd imagine that can turn into a pretty big problem. So what could Henry possibly have said or done that was so terrible? He'd constantly pass comments and remarks, questioning Hisrich's authority and creative direction. He even went as far as to try to make changes at the last minute across the board, all without her knowledge. If that's true, I'd understand why people thought he was stepping over the line. Not just that, but it would have also put the showrunner's whole vision into question. considering that it's a given that the lead has to sign off on every single detail. But it doesn't end there. A lot of other writers and directors on the show were also done with Cavill. They were being ignored on set, and the actor would constantly claim to know what was best for the show. By the end of his time on the series, it was alleged that Henry had stepped on pretty much all the important toes. So if all this is true, then what was the straw that broke the camel's back? Cavill was given a bit of a slap on the wrist for his attitude, but even that didn't change anything. In fact, it was after the ordeal that he allegedly sent an email to the entire writing staff, and that's what ultimately got him booted. With neither the actor nor Netflix commenting on the matter, it seems like these speculations are going to be nothing more than rumors, for the time being at least. As for what Hisrich had to say, the producer responded to the rumors amid a press tour for the spin-off titled The Witcher: Blood Origin, calling all reports of any unpleasantness between the Witcher team and Henry baseless. She added that their relationship was entirely built on mutual respect. At the same time, though, she was a bit shady about the actual reason behind Cavill's exit. She said that she'd never get into exactly why he left, but promised to give everyone more clarity in a couple more months after the third season was out. Which makes you think, if it really was an amicable split and based on mutual respect, why can't she just be open about the reasons? After all, longtime fans of the show deserve to know why their favorite character is suddenly being recast, right? Let's hope Hisrich stays true to her word and lets us know what actually happened. Until then, we're just going to have to learn to accept that the younger Hemsworth brother is going to be the new Witcher. But not a lot of people are too excited about the switch. There have already been plenty of signs that the series is going to deviate from the books. That much became clear when news of Season 3 came out. I'm talking specifically about Robbie Amell being cast as a major elf character, someone who doesn't even exist in Sapkowski's books. That's exactly why so many fans are on Cavill's side if that's the reason he left the show, or was kicked out. They feel like he truly wanted the series to be as amazing as possible, and that by straying away from the source material, the screenwriters are just sabotaging the whole thing. Why try to fix something that isn't broken? Everyone expects the show's ratings to take a serious hit after Season 3, which is supposed to be Cavill's last. How do I know that? Just take a look at the public outcry since news of the actor leaving broke, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a poll by Culture Crave on Twitter that got over 200,000 responses, and the results found that 81.9% of respondents wouldn't be watching Season 4. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. So, there you have it. From the show's ratings tanking after some serious mistakes by the writers, to the actor's heartbreaking post about stepping back from the role of a lifetime. Those were the real reasons Henry Cavill quit The Witcher.